What's up, everyone? I recently completed my ServiceNow Certified System Administration test. So I took this test last week and I got certified. And in the process, I learned a lot. And I want to share this video with some of the techniques that I used to study for the test. So I think you need about 5 to 10 hours of dedicated study time to clear this test. And I did a couple of things which I thought was very useful in not only preparing for the test but also increasing my knowledge about ServiceNow. So I want to share that with you today. So first, before you take this test, you actually need to undergo the training, and you can do a 3 day training, which I did not do. I found it easier to do the on-demand learning because that just it's more flexible. And once you complete the training, then you are given a voucher. So this voucher is needed to actually go into ServiceNow uses a firm called Web Assessor, and you need to go to Web Assessor, present this voucher, and only then you can schedule the test. And then when you schedule the test, you can either go into an office to take the test, or you can do it at your home online proctored. I tried to do the online proctor, but it was a horrible experience. It was one of the worst experiences I would say that I've had in taking these type of tests. And then I actually went in and took the test, which was much easier. And I don't know why I did that. Didn't do that earlier. So let's say, for this video, I'm going to focus on how do you study for the test. But these are two things to keep in mind that you need to complete the prerequisites for this. So now you take the training, and hopefully all of the material is still fresh in your mind. But because, by the nature of tests, they will ask you some very specific questions. So you do need to practice this a little bit. Now, there are various websites that allow you practice questions. I used one called Exam Topics, and they have a lot of questions. I think about 70 or 80 you can do without paying them anything. And then after that, if you want to do more, then you have to pay them. So I never actually paid them, but I felt that the 70 odd questions that I did was enough. And then I did the similar kind of thing from one or two other websites. And all in all, I think it was sufficient. During the test, I never felt like a lack of confidence, or I always felt that I will be able to clear it. So now this is how I studied, right? So I took a combination of ChatGPT and then your ServiceNow instance. So hopefully you have an instance. If you don't, you can request for a personal developer instance and use these two things to prepare for this. And I will show you some examples of how I did this. So I have, for example, in this website, there are questions, and I have these questions. In what order should filter elements be specified? Should it be the field operator, then value, field operator condition value, value operator, and then field? And I know the answer to this, but this is also something that you can imagine that you can go to the platform and very easily look up the answer for this. So here I have my employee instance open, and I have the filter condition here. So I'm trying to build a filter, and you can see that it shows me the options of field first, then operator, and then value. So you can say state is, which is your choose operator, and then you can see your choose option. So when you do this, you can then say that okay, this is actually the solution, and then you can reveal the solution and see the answer. So now in this case, this most voted is also the right community answer, but sometimes these two are different, which is a little bit of a confusing thing about this interface. But when you do this, you will not forget it ever, right? Because you actually went to the instance and looked up that value. Now, the second way that I studied for this is when you have something like this question: which statement is true about business rules? A business rule must run before database action occurs, can be a piece of JavaScript, must not run before a database action occurs. A business rule monitors fields on a form. So for these type of things, what I found was it was very helpful. I opened an instance of ChatGPT and I just put the question there and then went through the answer and saw whether the answer made sense to me or not. So in this case, it says it is a JavaScript, and it also gives you some helpful information about that. So all of this is building your knowledge. I mean, whatever you get in the test, will not be exactly what you're seeing in this, but by reading about this, you can build up your knowledge. And once you do this for 70 questions, or maybe I did it for about 100 questions, you will feel very comfortable in the test. So here you can see that ChatGPT is saying that in ServiceNow, a business rule is a server-side script that executes when a record is displayed, inserted, updated, deleted, or when a table is queried. These rules are written in JavaScript and can be configured to run before or after the database action has occurred, or when the record is queried. So from this, you know that this is the right answer, that the business rule can be a piece of JavaScript, right? Because all of the other conditions are not matching. And you can reveal this and see that, yeah, this is true. So once you do this, it forms some sort of a memory that will be there with you and you will remember. Now, another thing, and this is maybe a little more complicated, but not by much, is another type of question: what is import set table? Right. So for my work, at least, I have never needed to load any data into ServiceNow. So when I saw this question, it certainly needed some sort of investigation from me. And I thought, okay, let me just load data and see what that looks like. So I just went into my employee instance, and I just go and say load. And here, system import sets, load data, and I can see that here you have some import set table, and I have already done some import uh, data imports for studying for the exam. So it shows me the previous staging table that I had. It shows me a data source, and now when I go back into the question, I am reading this: a table where data will be placed post transformation. So that seems incorrect, because you don't want post transformation, you actually want to go to the target table. A table that determines relationships, so we didn't see anything like that. A staging area, so that is what it is. I mean, it's looking like when you're trying to load the data, it's looking like there is a staging area where this is going. Or a repository for update set information. Now in this you don't see any update set, uh, so it doesn't seem correct. And here it is staging area. So now for good measure, just complete this and see what are the other steps. So import sets, loaded data, create transform map, run transform, import log. So when you do this, you see, oh, these are some of the steps that are happening, and you can just complete this out, and this way you will actually learn for the exam. So these are some two methods, and I don't want to elongate the video, so I'll just stop at 3 or 4 questions. But these are some ways that you can study for this, and study for this very easily, because a lot of time the questions are really about, what is a table name. So just go to ServiceNow and look up the table name. Or if it is more conceptual, then you can put that in Chat GPT and learn the answer. For example, one question is, what do you get in the user menu? So this is very easy. You just go to the user menu and see what are my options, and impersonate, elevate, log out. These are the three options there. So it's very easy, and there is no guesswork. Then you are confident of your answer, and there is no reason not to spend that time. So these are some techniques that I wanted to share with you to study for the exam. The exam itself is not very hard, I would say, and just dedicate 5 to 10 hours. Go to a center if possible and take the test, and I'm sure you will also succeed. All right, guys, all the best, and thank you for watching the video.